All right, guys. One of the best coaches in the game, no doubt. He pioneered the sport in New Zealand and has helped such names as Israel Adesanya, Brad Riddell, Dan Hooker, Alex Volkanovski, Carlos Olberg, Kai Kara France, and many, many more. The man behind CKB, Eugene Bareman. Welcome back to Submission Radio. How are you, man?
Yeah, good. Thanks for the introduction. I definitely didn't pioneer the sport. There are definitely better people than me that came before me, but that was a great introduction. Thank you very much.
I think you're pioneering it now. I think that's fair.
Yeah, maybe now, a little bit.
Well, how about this, man? And I know you're a very modest guy, but we have another massive card around the corner, UFC 276. And how about this? A busy night for one Eugene Bareman as Alex Volkanovski takes on Max Holloway. You got Israel and Brad as well, taking over an International Fight Week. I mean, how does it feel to have another 3 pivotal fights locked in on such a big card yet again? Is it surreal, or are we at a point now where we're just like, I'm Eugene Bareman. These are the kind of things I just do in my regular life?
No, we never take these opportunities for granted. We understand that not many guys, not many individuals, not many teams get to, they get this kind of pedestal to work with. So we definitely think it's another kind of historic date and a historic event, and we're treating it as such. We're like, we're pulling out all the stops for this event. So we feel privileged to be here, and we're kind of like behaving appropriately, like we do think we're privileged to be there, so we're going to make the most of it.
Dude, double CKB title fight. I'm so excited for this event. And of course for Alex, right? Because he's been looking forward to this third fight with Max. We've been talking about it for so long. What are your thoughts on them fighting for a third time? Because for some fans, he's already beaten Max twice. There's still some others that feel the third fight sort of needs to happen because the first two, well, not the first one, but maybe the last one was deemed somewhat close. Where are you at on this one?
Personally, or the team, or
just personally? Yeah,
personally.
Oh no, personally, I don't think the fight is necessary at all.
Right.
But, that's just like I said, that's just my personal view. You beat someone twice, but I guess like I said, I'm not the person that pushes the buttons behind the scenes, and the fans want to see another fight. Max has done really well and showed why he's a champion. He's had 2 really good wins over really top class opponents. So has Alex. So even though I don't think the fight necessarily needs to happen because we've already won twice, I'm not against it happening again. Yeah, it's another good challenge, and if it's what the people want to see, then let's give it to them.
Can we confirm this is it? If Alex fights here and wins, there will be no 4th fight with Max Holloway, or would it not surprise you considering how the UFC sometimes books its sort of big names in the divisions? Hey, man.
I guess it wouldn't. Yeah. I guess it wouldn't surprise me. They literally tried to do Figueiredo versus Moreno 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully for us, we're the benefits of that not happening again for a 4th time, whether even through it's due to an injury. But it wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, we just need to put a dominant stamp on this fight, and kind of like I guess be done with that chapter of Alex's career.
Out of curiosity, how different do you think this one might be potentially compared to the other previous ones? I know that in the past you've spoken to us about how you wanted a certain amount of time to sort of analyze Max's game, and there were points where if the fight had happened, it wouldn't have given you guys the opportunity to do that, where Max could have improved to a certain point, where Volko wouldn't have had that time to improve and match him necessarily. How different do you think this fight will be compared to the other ones?
Yeah, no, this fight's going to be a very different fight. Truth be told, I objected to the second fight. I was the one member of our team that said, I don't think we should do the second fight. I don't think it's necessary on short notice. I was the one member of our team that put our hand up and said, no, let's not do it again. I felt, and I did that because I felt we needed more time to prepare accordingly. So at the end of the day, I'm not the one that makes the decisions. A lot of the decision goes to the head coach, Joe Lopez, but the team makes a decision together. And we decided to take the fight, and once we decided to do that, then we're all, then it's all aboard, and that's the call to war. Like everybody steps up in line and gets ready to, jump out of the trenches. So that's what happened, and then this fight is going to be nothing like the second fight. Like, if you like, Alex kind of played the different chess moves that he used in the first fight. Max came back with, a really good strategy and some really good tactics. And now the ball kind of has swung back towards, now Max is kicking off now. But we're going to get the ball. So now it's up to us and what we do, so to speak. So I think this third fight, you're definitely going to see something different.
I think it's one of those situations where Alex has just had an incredible run. When it comes down to it, and it's all said and done in the history books, he's going to be one of the greatest to ever do it. And there's no doubt, especially in his weight class as well. For us, it's unbelievably impressive for what he's done. There's people in other parts of the world that maybe aren't giving him the sort of acknowledgement that he should be getting with this incredible run. Do you think for some of those people, this Max win will do something, maybe put a stamp on his legacy, maybe announce to the world he's officially the GOAT at 145? Or do you believe that for those people, there's really nothing that can be done to kind of, I guess, sell them on Alex as the best guy to ever do it in the division?
No, I think the featherweight division has had long-standing champions. And those champions, it's taken a lot of each one of those champions, whether it be Aldo, whether it be Max, that's taken them. They've had to garner that support over a long time. That's just the nature of the fans in the featherweight division. I think Alex is the same. He's not any different to Max and Aldo. Like, it's going to take a lot of wins and a lot of convincing to win the fans over. I think Max goes a lot of the way to doing it, though, beating Max a third time. Which is, funnily enough, like, just that statement in itself is a little bit ridiculous. Like, to make a statement by beating someone three times, that means you've beaten them twice. But I guess that's the nature of the fights that they've had, right? They've had a couple of relatively close fights. And no, I think it goes a long way to convincing some of those fans that keep denying Alex's status in the division. It goes a long way to convincing them, if that's what's important to you. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn what they think, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've definitely gotten that vibe over the last few years. But out of curiosity, do you think this could be Alex's last fight at, well, not forever at featherweight, but do you think the next fight could be at lightweight potentially?
Potentially, yep. I think potentially, if you go out there and do the job that we're planning to do with Max, then it's gonna put Alex in a position to be treated well. Yeah, to be treated well and to be given the rewards of working so hard and getting himself to such a lofty position. So maybe.
It is an interesting situation because I know that Alex has spoken a lot about wanting to go up and try lightweight, and there's so many fun fights there. I'm just curious because right now the title is vacant, right? You've got Oliveira and Islam, and that's very likely next. I'm wondering, who do you see Alex potentially slotting in against for this next title shot? Do you think it's going to be Islam at the end of the day who's going to be the champion? Do you believe Oliveira can win this title back and make weight for this next fight to sort of regain that championship? Who do you think could potentially be that person that Alex actually takes on for this lightweight belt?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you have some thoughts on Oliveira not making that championship weight, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I don't know. I think I don't know. Is it an injustice for Oliveira to get another shot if he missed weight? But then there's all the controversy about the scales, and if he really missed weight, and if it was a failure with the scale, and then there might be other people to blame for that. So there's some controversy there. But generally, if you miss weight, should you really be rewarded with a title shot after? But then again, I don't know anything about the situation, so I don't want to comment too much on that. Should Islam be the next person that challenges for the title? Yeah, I think he probably does deserve it. He does deserve to the title. Whether they give him the title shot is another thing. Is another question, you know, like the UFC is a business. And it's the business of making fans come and sell tickets to watch fights. And Islam doesn't have the most crowd-pleasing style. So his road to the title is he's just got to keep winning and winning and winning, and eventually you just can't deny him. And I think he's getting close to doing that. What happens to that division? I mean, if Islam becomes champion, I'm not sure. It's kind of like... I'm not sure, like, yeah. So honestly, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. It's got nothing to do with my fighters. It's something that Volk doesn't really have to contemplate at the moment. So he'll fight whoever's the champion. It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
Just quickly, style-wise, who do you think is the trickier matchup for Volko? Not to look too far ahead, but I am curious, like, how you read that.
Definitely. Oliveira is the more difficult match, in my opinion. Again, it just depends on how much you. It depends on. Yeah, I mean, just Oliveira. It just has a more well-rounded skill set, so there's more to deal with. I know a lot of people talk about, I mean, Islam has good stand-up, but that just depends on who you are looking in, I guess. But yeah, I just think Oliveira would be a more well-rounded skill set for Volk to deal with. Whereas Islam, perhaps we can narrow a couple of things down and concentrate on those few things. Which is easier said than done, because just like in much the fashion of Khabib, Islam excels. He may only do one or two aspects of the sport really, really well, but he does them at the highest level. So that's the difficulty.
It's so fascinating because, with Oliveira as well, he's so willing to work off his back. And I know Alex is an excellent wrestler and not someone who would be afraid to go down with him. So just fascinating matchups. I was going to ask you, though, Eugene, like, obviously Alex looks amazing at bantamweight. He's one of the best featherweight. Sorry. Yeah. He's one of the best featherweights to ever do it. But what does he look like at 155? Like, without that weight cut, we imagine that we might actually see a little bit of a different version of Alex Volkanovski. Like, would you say there might be a little bit more power, a little bit more energy, maybe a little bit more size? Like, a 155 Alex Volkanovski sounds pretty dangerous to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you see the same guy. Like, the guys, I think you see the same Alex. I don't, like, he's just so physically strong and so physically overwhelming. I don't know. It just comes with that. I don't know. It's something that comes with that small stature. But every single person, doesn't matter who you are, what experience you are, it grabs you. You feel something different. You know, it's a different feeling from anything that I've ever felt from someone of that stature. And I think the lightweight guys still feel that, you know. Look, I got middleweights and light heavyweights that feel it.
That's crazy.
You know, yeah, they're like, fucking hell, you know. Like, sorry, I don't even know if I can swear.
Of course you can.
You know, they're really, really surprised when Alex grabs him. You're talking about guys like 2 or 3 divisions up from him. So, light heavyweight's only 1 division above him. So I think you pretty much see the same Alex. Just that strength and that raw physicalness that he brings.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the rugby background definitely plays a role. And I remember having this conversation with someone back in the day, like around 2014, where if rugby players and NRL players can find MMA, it's going to be a big game changer because of the sheer athleticism and strength, and even some of the takedown ability that they have. And I think Alex is kind of like a perfect example of that. But speaking of takedowns, taking things down, it is fall over in the States for our good friends in America. It's a beautiful fall right now, actually. And our good friends at Manscaped want to make sure that it's beautiful when your pants fall as well. Don't let the trees be the only thing dropping their excess leaves. Give your trunk the look it deserves from the leaders in male grooming and their 4th generation performance package. Treat your log, and they say that a tree looks bigger if you trim the grass around it. I'm just saying, it's been working for me all those years. The Lawnmower 4.0, the best grooming tool in the world with its skin-safe technology, so you don't have to worry about nicks and cuts on the boys downstairs. It's got the LED light. It is waterproof. I love doing this stuff in the shower because it's such a time saver. I don't have time to, have a proper grooming routine out of whatever I do in the shower. It's also got the travel lock, so you can just toss it in your bag and not worry about it going off on the whole, 14-hour plane ride from here to LAX. And then also you've got a whole bunch of different guards, so you can do different lengths, textures. I'll be honest with you, I use it to shave my head all the time. I put it on the shortest one. It just saves my life. And then also makes a great gift. So Father's Day is around the corner. If you're racking your brain thinking, what do I get, Dad? Just get the Performance Package 4.0, which comes with the lawnmower. You get the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which is perfect for, somebody getting up there in age with the crazy nose hairs and the ear hairs, which I'm starting to develop. You also get the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Toner, which makes everything smell nice and fresh downstairs, and the Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Perfect Father's Day gift, isn't that right, Dennis?
Yeah, man, that's the bomb.com right there, full brawl. And by the way, with the beard trimmer as well, it's really, really good for that. I use that all the time. And the awesome thing about it is it stays charged for ages. You can use it in the shower. You can use it on the way to work, wherever you need to go. And sometimes for hairy mofos like myself, it's good to always be ready with a beard trimmer so that your hair doesn't cover your front lip and you look like a Wookiee or something as you walk into another crazy meeting at the office. So make sure to grab the crazy deal of 20% off and free shipping now with the code word submission. Change your father's life forever thanks to Manscaped for the better. Now, MyBookie, guys, we always talk about MyBookie, and I want to just quickly bring up the fact that these guys just have all the odds no matter what is happening. For example, I was just innocently browsing the website, putting down some bets, making some serious money with the code word submission by doubling my first deposit. And I saw they got a Will Smith versus Chris Rock celebrity boxing match odds up on the website. So how about that? You want to get in early? You want to make some money? Will Smith right now at a minus 500 and Chris Rock at a plus 300. I'd love to get Luke Thomas on and sort of break this one down because I think Chris Rock, with that rock chin, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if these odds are accurate or not. Will Smith, is he a little bit overrated in terms of the toughness in this fight? How much power is he bringing? Is he in the wrong weight class? All this kind of stuff potentially broken down if it actually happens. But right now, you guys can bet on that. Or what about a possible Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou boxing rules MMA gloves fight where Tyson Fury is a minus 500 and Francis Ngannou plus 250? I don't know. Well, that's another interesting one that we could discuss if it ever happens. That's another fun one, and probably a little bit more likely to happen down the track. Or if we want to be in reality right now and look at the fights this weekend, how about a Rosenstruck at plus 120 versus Volkov minus 150? What I'm trying to say is these guys have all the bets and all the odds that you guys need, including the NHL, NBA playoffs, all sorts of things. Make sure to go to MyBookie today, use that code word submission, and double your first deposit. But before we wrap up and get back to our chat with Eugene Bareman, man, Kaz, I got to tell you, I have been crazy on the geo-blocked internet content lately. And I'm not just talking about the fight porn that is, of course, very, very hard to get here in Australia. I'm talking about all the amazing content that you can get that you can't actually access without a VPN here in Australia. I'm talking about HBO Max. I'm talking about Peacock. I'm talking about things like the NHL and the NBA playoffs where you don't get to watch the inside guys and all the great programs that you guys want to check out? What about AEW? Are you a pro wrestling fan struggling to watch geo-block content from over there? I know you'll be buying the pay-per-view through Fight, but are you able to actually access all the matches and things that are happening throughout Fight Week at AEW? If you don't have a VPN, you just can't not do it. And the problem is, if you guys are going on those weird, crazy streaming websites, you might get your credit card information stolen. Come in, our friends at NordVPN Cast that have a crazy, crazy deal, can allow you to access whatever content you want internationally from US or whatever country it may be without people taking all your money and taking everything that you work for.
Yeah, that's right, man. Father's Day is around the corner. Maybe get a VPN for your dad, so the next time he gets an email from a Nigerian prince asking for a small loan in exchange for a big, big fortune, dad can be protected with the threat protection that they are throwing in at the moment. Use the code SUBMISSION or go to nordvpn.com/submission, or click the link down below in the description and it takes you straight there for a juicy, juicy discount. And if for whatever reason you're not satisfied, there's no risk, zero risk, because it's 30 days money back guarantee. With that said, Huge, getting back to you, obviously massive fight also at UFC 276. We just got done talking about Alex and Holloway, but then there's also Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier, a fight that has been in the making for a long time. I know Israel kind of eyed Jared a long time ago, but Israel's in this position now, almost like Anderson Silva when he was in his prime, where it kind of feels almost like a foregone conclusion that a champ so dominant is going to win. And I think people are sort of overlooking Jared. I know you guys are masters when it comes to the mental side of things and keeping Israel and all the boys sort of in tune mentally. When it comes to overconfidence and overlooking an opponent, how do you guys manage that and stop that from creeping into camp?
Yeah, I mean, Israel's like highly motivated for this fight. He picked out Cannonier quite a few fights ago. See that possibly Cannonier might be next. And the reason Israel picked that ahead of time is because he could see how well Cannonier was doing and how dangerous he was, and he could also see that Cannonier's style is a challenge. It brings brings some dangers. It's not about where Israel is and where most champions should be. It's not about you. It's you get to a stage, you get to a level where you pick the hardest challenges, the hardest fights. You don't try and choose the easier guy. I've got ABC, I'm going to choose whatever's the easiest. It doesn't become like that. You want to challenge yourself. And that's what he saw in Cannonier. He saw a challenge. So motivating Israel for this, regardless of what the odds are or what fans think, hasn't been a problem. It's not going to be a problem.
And Jared is just one of those guys where I feel like so many people kind of misjudge him going into fights with him and don't understand quite what they get themselves into. Well, what do you think? What is one thing that people have gotten wrong about preparing for Jared Cannonier that you guys are focused on during the prep for this fight?
Yeah, look, we do. I mean, as is typical with what we do, we try to the physical things, the way a guy fights and the moves that he does, and even a lot of the strategy he uses. That's all very important. But we do. I mean, we try to focus a lot of our attention on how the other person thinks and their mindset and how they approach certain situations in a fight and what their mind does in certain situations. Jared is not going to be Jared is not Paulo Costa. He's not going to be a deer frozen in the headlights. If Israel's picking him off, Jared's shown in the past that he has the mindset and to change the strategy, and he will start to press Israel a little bit. And he won't be as reluctant as Paulo Costa was, and because that's just his mindset. He has a much stronger mindset and understanding, and he's got a very good team behind him. So that's something that people underestimate about Jared. Like, he is willing to I don't want to say take risks, but take like calculated like judgments that the fight's not going his way and he needs to change something, and he's willing to take a sharp turn to change it. And that's what makes him dangerous, and that's what also at the end of the day is going to make him vulnerable. So that's what we're preparing for.
It's a very good point about how, you know, one of his strengths can also be weaknesses, in, you know, from a coaching standpoint. So I like that. I am curious though, division-wise, you know, how do you view the middleweight division at the moment? There's not a ton of contenders really jumping out there. You've got Strickland and Pereira. I'm wondering if you have sort of a preference between, you know, who makes it out of that one, because you got to think the winner there might be facing Israel next, right?
Yeah, I mean, we would be nice for Strickland to win, because Strickland's body of work is good enough to fight for a title, whereas if Pereira wins, he's still got to do more work, you know. So
what about for you guys personally? Because obviously Pereira's his claim to fame at the moment, no disrespect to him, is he's the guy that beat Israel. Would it be satisfying for you guys to kind of be able to you know, end that?
Would it be satisfying? No, I mean, would it be satisfying? For me, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have I wasn't involved in the fight, so I don't really have some deep-seated need to go and like beat up Pereira because we lost. We had a match with Pereira and we lost fair and square in those matches. That's the life of a fighter. So no, I don't have a deep-seated like need to go and fight Pereira and get revenge, if that's what you're saying. Maybe Israel does, but that's a question for him. I don't think he does. I don't think it concerns him at all. I think Pereira's just another fighter trying to make his way to the champion, who's beat the champion in a completely different sport. I just don't think Israel even thinks about it too hard. I definitely don't. The only reason I say Strickland is because if Strickland wins, that's a really clear-cut contender, whereas if Pereira wins, it's like, well, you've beaten one guy, you've probably got to beat some more. So if Strickland wins, there's a clear-cut fight that we can have 8 weeks later, hopefully.
Yeah, it's an interesting division right now because obviously you've got like a Luke Rockhold taking on Paulo Costa. So who knows, maybe Luke could come back and eventually maybe being a potential opponent for Israel. Then you've got Rob, who's in the division. I don't see you guys doing a fourth Robert Whittaker fight. Third Robert Whittaker fight anytime soon. You're already doing one with Alex and Max. So you don't look like a trilogy type camp to me. And of course, you know, there's 205 also around the corner. I know that's also something that Israel's always wanted to sort of come back and try. So it's sort of an interesting time at the moment. I wonder right now, you guys, you mentioned at the start of the interview how it's a privilege for you guys to be a part of this event. You guys are showcasing fighters on International Fight Week. It's something that, you know, was never done before by, you know, fighters from our region at the level that you guys do it at. Is it weird being, not weird, but is it kind of interesting being in this position right now where, you know, Israel is at this level where he's, you know, one of the best to ever do it at middleweight. All the fans acknowledge him. Everybody sees him as the champion for a really long time. You've got Alex at the top of the card, who's one of the best champions of all time. You've got Brad on the card, who's a real problem in the division. And you guys are in this position now where when you started, you know, you were kicking off from the prelims, working your way up the card, and now here you are at the top of the card and sort of at the top of the sport. Is it kind of crazy now looking at it compared to where you guys started all those years ago in the UFC?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's absolutely crazy from where we came from. But with a little bit of, you know, like with a little bit of, I told you so. I knew we could do it. We just needed to do it. But that makes it even more satisfying. Because you think that something's possible, you think you're capable of it, you think you have the talent, you think there's guys here that can be the, you know, in the top 10, top 15 of the world that can fight for the biggest organization, the biggest and best organization on the planet. You think that. And, to actually accomplish some of the things that we set out to do, after thinking and saying that we would, that's an amazing feeling. And something like this event, look, that doesn't just roll off our backs lightly. Like this is massive. Like, we think it's this is probably the biggest thing that's happened to us since the record show in Melbourne. And it's got a very similar feel. Like, we feel the same. The buzz in the gym is the same. Like, there's a lot of guys from overseas over here helping out. Frank Hickman's just got over. New Zealand's opened up again, so we can bring in all these guys to help us. We got Volk was just here. He's gone back, and then for a couple of weeks, then he's coming back. Like, things are like they were in the old days when we did have the Melbourne show, and that buzz is very similar. The gym got a lot of local professionals fighting, a lot of professionals fighting on the circuit around Australia and Asia. So we're all kind of like, it's this crescendo that's building up to this big event. Very similar to the feeling that we had when we built up to the Melbourne fight. So, it is amazing. You do have to, like, pinch yourself sometimes, but then you also have to come back down to earth and realize there's some serious work that needs to be done.
Kai Kara France also fighting for a belt. I think the reason why we bring it up also is just because it's just become, it feels so normal, right? Like, you see two CKB guys at the top of the card fighting for belts, and at this point, it's not even shocking. It's just become like oh yeah, that makes sense, and that's why we kind of bring it up. Take a step back for a second and say, hang on a second, this is crazy. You guys have been doing this for so long, but MMA, you guys still feel like a somewhat relatively new camp, and from a part of the world that was never, known for MMA champions, obviously kickboxing and other aspects, but to have so much success, in the UFC in the highest level is just absolutely wild, right?
Yeah, I guess it is kind of amazing. It's hard for people when you're on the inside like me. It's hard to take a perspective on the outside looking in, right? So, I guess if I took a moment to kind of get outside of the box and look, I guess it would be pretty cool, a pretty amazing thing to just have regular Kiwis, regular CKB people, regular people from Australia, fighters from Australia and New Zealand, headlining cards now for the last, 3 or 4 or 5 years or however long it's been. That is pretty cool accomplishment. We're like, we're a part of the geography, we're a permanent part of the geography, permanent part of the real estate now. So that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember back in the day before we started doing this show, just watching guys like Rampage and Chuck and Randy and all these larger than life superheroes that didn't seem real to me. And now seeing you guys in real life actually in those same positions, absolutely insane. Guys, CKB, another historic card around the corner. Make sure to follow them at City Kickboxing on Instagram and Facebook. And, congratulations, Eugene. Unbelievable stuff, man. I know we always say it every time, but you guys are absolutely killing it. And we appreciate you joining us and chopping it up with us one more time here on Submission Radio. It always means a lot to us.
Thank you, guys. Been a pleasure again. Thank you very much.